Hello everyone, this is Crustalmania and welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to be letting you guys know that I just submitted my first set of 5 cards to Gamestop. I just kind of wanted to let you guys know kind of how the experience was, because I know this is already out there, but just giving it from my perspective for this video. So basically, in the previous video I made in the past of showing you guys kind of what cards I thought I was going to grade in the future, there were some cards that I have swapped out for grading cards, but this first stack of 5, what I showed in the video is what I sent and submitted through GameStop. So it was the Absol card, the base set Blastoise card, the Pidgeot card, the Skitty, and the Gengar. And it was a very interesting experience. I went to like my local GameStop later in the day. I think maybe an hour or an hour and a half before they're about to close, because that's when I just got off work. And I was able to make it in time before they closed, because prior to that, when I tried going there, they had closed because I went too late after work. I was like, dang it, I missed it. So I went again, and luckily it was like a weekday, so there wasn't too much going on, and I was one of the few customers, and I was able to pre-purchase the GameStop Pro membership online before going in. I did ask the representatives at GameStop when I called a couple stores about the GameStop Pro membership, how it worked and stuff like that, and what are the benefits to that versus just grading without having GameStop Pro membership. And the GameStop Pro membership is $25 for the year. I didn't think that was too bad, honestly. If it was $25 a month, then I would have been like, heck no. But $25 for the year, I kind of cost averaged it. It seemed to be relative to, I don't know, maybe like $2 a month. So I was like, or like $2 to $3 a month. I'm like, okay, that's not the worst thing in the world. I've paid more for things like a gym membership or something. So, long story short, I ended up paying for that shortly before I went to the GameStop store to submit my cards. I went in later that day, on the day that I submitted my cards. As of making this video, I believe it was like the week prior. And basically, I went to the store. It took a little bit of time, but I got to talk to the manager of that GameStop, who was working at that time, which I actually met him previously when I walked into that GameStop and just kind of asked about grading in general. So the guy was pretty cool. Really nice dude. Overall, in the experience, like, he was pretty knowledgeable about cards. He was telling me like, hey, GameStop's having this promotional, like, for Black Bolt, White Flare, like, this is where you get the drops if you want to, like, get Pokemon sealed product. This is the promos we were having and stuff like that. And I gave him like my 5 cards that I want to grade. He was like, oh, what are you guys like? Oh, vintage, that's really cool. Like, dang, this Blastoise is pretty cool, even though it's kind of damaged. It's kind of like really good centering. And damn, like the Crystal Guardian Skitty's like, oh, dude, that stamp, I haven't seen that in a while. It's really cool. It's like, vintage is pretty cool. And he was telling me different things just about grading. Like the different companies you could go to, the different avenues you could do. Like, you'd sell like the PSA 8s or higher with GameStop if you want to kind of recoup some of your money back, or if you want to crack the slab and regrade with another company if you think your grade is not super great, and kind of like what the rates are if you were to sell a PSA 8 back to GameStop and they pay PSA price. So it's not super bad, and just all the different promotions and just the different things about the card spaces, about him going to local card shows. We had like a pretty good conversation for like a good chunk of time, where I was kind of distracting him and actually kind of doing the process of getting the cards. But one thing I know is you need to put your cards in card savers, and yeah, you need to put the cards in a card saver, and I had them in a penny sleeve. So if they're not in a card saver, I think they won't accept the cards in like a top loader, so you have to put it into like one of those kind of flimsy card saver things. And I think from seeing in prior videos, they can sell one to you there at that point, but it's like 25 or 50 cents for one, so it kind of adds on to the cost of it, and then it's a little more legwork. So I pretty much brought everything in, and the manager was like, oh, cool, like, that's great. You made it really easy for me, so like everything's in card sleeves, so like I can just go right away. Long story short, after the whole process of submitting the cards, basically, from joining the GameStop Pro membership, you get kind of a discount. But basically, how GameStop works in terms of grading now is they charge $20 per card, so $20 per Pokemon card, which is not chump change. So I submitted 5 cards, so that's at least $20. And if you don't have a GameStop Pro membership, it's about a $10 flat fee. But if you are a GameStop Pro member, $5 already comes off of that, so it ends up being $5 flat rate shipping because you purchased the Pro membership, which is, I thought, kind of pretty reasonable, because last year it was free shipping, or when which I think they introduced PSA grading last year or 2 years ago. It was free shipping, but recently, because of the high demand, they had to charge a flat rate fee. So it without the GameStop Pro membership, it's $10 flat rate shipping fee. With the GameStop Pro membership, it's a $5 basically flat rate shipping fee because they take $5 off. And then they do give out like a $5 kind of rewards points, which is like 5,000 reward points, which is like $5. So I got that from signing up recently. So basically, I took off the shipping because I had the $5 like for the shipping, just because it was I was a GameStop Pro member, and then I had I redeemed my points, so then that was basically $10 off, which costed for shipping. Luckily, there was no tax on top of it, because the sales tax where I am at is pretty high. So going through GameStop, there was no sales tax. So with the 5 cards, it costed about $100. Like 5 times 20 is 100. So basically, it came out to $100 for 5 cards, which is not cheap by any stretch of the imagination, but for what it's worth and the convenience of it, it's actually not too bad. Again, as I mentioned before, there are a lot of other things you can buy with $100. You can buy, like, I don't know, a really nice meal with $100. You could buy probably car parts if you need it for your car. It might pay part of a medical bill, if you're going to be realistic in that sense. But $100 is not super bad for 5 cards. Now, the 5 cards probably need to be, if you're looking for the money side of it, you probably would want to submit really good cards to GameStop, just because you would want that card to get a good grade. But they also do like the normal PSA thing, where if it's higher value than what you submitted, they do kind of charge you on top of that. So there is that part of the grading part. So they will charge you if it's like a higher grade and the cost is higher, then they'll kind of cost average kind of what you submitted. So that's not the greatest thing either, but for the cost of what it was, it's not too bad. And the convenience of like GameStops, they're pretty close by, and the membership cost right now is not too bad. So it was a worthwhile experiment, and honestly, the experience for me was pretty good over there at GameStop. Like, we'll see when the 5 cards come back, kind of what grades they come back in, but also just kind of what the marketability for those slabs will be, in terms of me either wanting to sell them online on eBay, or maybe selling them on Facebook Marketplace locally, or trading them or selling them to a local game store like the Merline Games game store that opened up recently, from the manager that I knew from a previous store. So maybe we can go one of 3 routes, but that was just my overall GameStop experience. I thought it was pretty good. I may grade more cards with them depending on how this first set of 5 do. So anyways, just wanted to put my perspective on that, and that is it for this video. If you're interested in grading through GameStop, I would say it's not bad. They only do PSA, but I would say maybe choose cards that you think are going to grade pretty well if you're kind of into that route. Otherwise, keep your cards raw. That's probably good as well, because you can stick them in a binder and appreciate them. So depending on what you're into. But anyways, we will see how this journey goes for these 5 cards. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.